out by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Three Guys One Mic. I'm Aaron, joined by the man himself,
William.
And today we're going to talk about the finish of Week 2 in the NFL.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we weren't able to post last week due to some health issues on my end, some technical difficulties. But we're back. And we gave predictions for this week. Last week we gave our predictions, but unfortunately we weren't able to get those out. But this week our predictions, I went 13-3.
Yeah. I went 11-5.
And I think Maya, he had the same thing. And he was all over TikTok bragging about his Cowboy pick and his Steelers pick. I don't know if you saw that, but
no, I don't pay attention.
He was rubbing it into people's faces, even though he had probably the worst record out of all of us. But let's go ahead and get into some of these games.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Cowboys Chargers.
Okay.
So I want you to lead this one off. See what you have to say about this.
Alright, well, listen, I'm not trying to hate on the Cowboys at all.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not. It's, okay, hang on. You give me a chance to get my notes out. I thought you were starting. But, okay, the Cowboys and Chargers. Being honest, I expected this game to be really high scoring, and I expected the defenses to kind of, tail off a little bit, to not really be a factor. But in reality, they were pretty much the biggest stars of this game. Both defenses played really good. I think the Cowboys defense stepped up, and I mean, when you look at the circumstance that they were in, losing both of their starting ends, and when you put Michael Parsons on the defensive line, and he starts to generate that kind of pressure, it kind of, it's good, and it's only the second game of his career, and I think it's very encouraging. And again, they came up with two big turnovers. One one was on Justin Herbert at the end of the third quarter, and they got a big turnover. You look at it, this running game, I think that was the biggest thing for them. As we know, Dak didn't really have a big game. He didn't really throw for any touchdowns, but he did have a lot of yards. But Zeke having 16 attempts, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. Tony Pollard having 13 attempts, 109 yards, 1 touchdown. And again, when you look at these two backs, I still think Zeke is a better back. But if I'm the Cowboys after this year and how it's looking so far, I don't see a need to keep Zeke around because he's eating up a lot of your cap space. And Pollard just runs the ball way differently. And me and you, last night we were on the phone, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
How Pollard runs with a purpose. Zeke, I mean, I'm not saying he does it, but
honestly, it looks a lot different when he runs the ball.
Yeah, but my main point about this game is the Chargers. Again, I'm really big on the Chargers this year, and I keep on saying that the Chargers need to be consistent in winning close games. They did it in Week 1. They looked great in the fourth quarter, but when you look at it, you have 2 touchdowns that were called back because of penalties. And then my biggest problem was that Michael Parsons sack on Justin Herbert at the end of the game. I think they should have let him play. I think Herbert wasn't in the grass for that long for them to call him down. And I think it just ruined the flow of the game. But yeah, I just think when you look at it, the Chargers beat themselves too much. There was too many plays, too many holding calls, too many taunting calls. I just think that kind of stuff just needs to be left in the past, and I think that was a one-time thing that the Chargers need to do. But if you look at Dak, again, how I was saying, he didn't have that big of a game. But on the final drive, going 4 for 4 or 5 for 5, he looked good. Hitting Amari for a good quick pass to pretty much end the game, and then that field goal to end the game. So yeah, I think it was a really good game for the Cowboys, but I can't just help myself from thinking that the Chargers beat themselves.
Yeah. Like you were saying, I think this is more of a moral victory to me, considering the fact that they were missing both their defensive ends. And Jerry Jones said himself that the young guys had to step up. This is a perfect chance. And I thought they did. Michael Parsons had 8 total pressures against a top rookie first-round pick who led Chase Young and that D-line in Washington to, I think, 0 pressures all around, 0 sacks. But yeah, Dak not needing to throw a touchdown shows a lot. I feel like this running back duo has a promise. And I mean, maybe they do keep Zeke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would want to keep him around forever because the duo has a lot of potential in my eyes. But yeah, I think this is a good showing for the Cowboys defense, and I think they need this to move forward. Because takeaways weren't really their thing. In the past, they weren't known for that. They were last in the league almost the last 5 years, I think. But Dan Quinn is coming to change that.
And again, another thing is that, going back to the Chargers, is that Herbert, he really had some plays that you really didn't see from him that often. If you look at his first pick, it was kind of behind. And then you look at
I would consider, a lot of people would say that was just a good play by Diggs because it wasn't really that behind if you watch it.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that route, you needed to be outside, and it was kind of behind him. And then his second one, who got the second one for the Cowboys?
It was Casey.
Okay, yeah. For that one, I understand that Keenan Allen, he fell down, he slipped, but I mean, just from the look of it, it just looked like that ball shouldn't have been thrown anyways. But yeah, I mean, I still think that Herbert's gonna bounce back. He's still a great quarterback. But I just think this game, was just kind of him, and this whole offense just kind of finding their footing a little bit.
It's way too early in the season to say that.
They're struggling. So go with your next game.
The second game, I have the Rams and Colts.
Okay.
Now, to me, I thought this was going to be a lot. I thought this game, the scoreboard didn't really show for what I really saw. I thought the Rams dominated most of the game, simply because the Colts couldn't get no offensive moves. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is just non-existent in this offense right now. It's more of Naheem Hines. And then, as we all know, Carson Wentz went down again. Unfortunately, he sprained both his ankles late in the game. But this Rams defense, I mean, the secondary is really fascinating to watch to me. I mean, the way they communicate with one another, the way they cover, the passion they play with. Mm-hmm. But I really pay attention to the way they tackle. I think that tackling is great, probably some of the best in the league. Yeah. But I think the Rams with Stafford is a serious problem for the NFC.
I agree with you. Are you done with that?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that the Rams, looking at these first two games, I understand it's really early, but looking at these first two games, I think that they're pretty much the only team that I'm confident in that they can challenge the Buccaneers. Because, I mean, you're just looking at this team, and again, like I said, this Rams team is kind of the same. They just added a quarterback who just extends plays. And Matt Stafford looked really good. But my main focus, I knew that the Rams were going to win this game, but my main thing is about the Colts. And when you look at the Colts, I think they had a really good game. It was solid. I mean, especially depending on who they were playing. I think the Colts were in it the whole time until Wentz got injured at the end. And if you look at it, Carson Wentz did have a decent game. He was 20 for 31, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. When you look at this team, I think it was 4 big things that kind of scare me for the Colts. It's that Wentz is still putting his body on the line, which, again, when I was watching that game, I was yelling out, slide, throw it away. And again, it was working in his favor, but eventually it's not going to work out.
Exactly.
So I feel like, I don't know, and I've been saying this for years. I'm like, I don't know who's in this locker room, the coaches, who are not telling him to slide. I mean, maybe they are, he's just ignoring them, but it's like, I don't know why he's still doing this in his 6th year. The second thing is his O-line doesn't look as good as everyone thought it would look, and I understand that the first two games were against really good teams, but the thing is that this offensive line still has to play a lot better, and the running game just looked horrible. And then if you look at it as a total, you have 100 yards on the ground, but with the backs that you should have way more than that. And I think also that Wentz was kind of, he was under fire a lot that's kind of as expected. You have Aaron Donald and stuff like that, but and my last point, and this isn't, or my last 2 points, and these aren't really that big, but I feel like going forward it could get big, is that the Colts still have they're lacking a number 1 receiver. With you guys, we know T.Y.'s he's going to be out for the first month or so, but I just think that you need that number 1 top receiver that you could just trust. I like Pascal, but I'm not too confident in him to be that guy.
I don't think he's too consistent as a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, and then I think the last one is that this defense doesn't look as elite as everyone thought it was. And again, I understand that the teams that are playing are really good, but I'm just saying so far that this team, they've been okay, but I'm just saying that I think that this defense could have played a lot better. And yeah, those are my concerns with the Colts. But yeah, with the Rams, I mean, they're still in my opinion, they're a top 4 team in the NFL, definitely top 2 in the NFC. Mm-hmm. So yeah, LAMAR.
For sure. Moving on to the next game, we like to cover the big games, right? Like the top games that we're really interested in. And this was going in, to be honest, but at the end of the day, it unfortunately wasn't due to the fact Bills and Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, I still don't know how to say his last name. Yeah. He gets hurt, rib injury, don't know how long he's out. Either way, the Bills, to me, Josh Allen doesn't look as good as everyone predicted for him to be. I don't think he's in that MVP form yet. Stephon Diggs is still a phenomenal talent. I mean, he went at Xavier Howard and Byron Jones in the same game.
Had a really nice catch on
Xavier Howard, just gave him that stare down. But the one big thing for the Bills that I saw was their run game.
Yeah.
I thought it worked this past Sunday. Devin Singletary broke free on a big one. But other than that, really nothing. I mean, the Dolphins couldn't really do anything with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. The offense just seemed like it stalled every single drive. And the Dolphins are in big trouble. And I think the Bills can, I think they get some progress from this.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I think Josh Allen will play better.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you look at the box score and Josh Allen only has 179 yards. through the air, but then their team still put up 35 points. So I think that's so good for them. But yeah, with Tua, I feel bad for him because he's a quarterback who hasn't really gotten a chance to play a full year. He gets hurt in week 2, and again, there's still talks about Deshaun Watson, about if the Dolphins are even sold on Tua. So I just feel bad for him. But yeah, with the Bills, I mean, the Bills are still a good team. I'm still high on them, but just right now, they just haven't looked how we all expected them to. But again, it's only week 2. Not every year is going to be the same where teams are going to have the same performances. So we just got to wait and see how the Bills turn out, and I'm not going to panic or bail on them just yet.
And the next game, which is a really big one in my eyes, is the Raiders-Steelers.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this game?
I think it was the surprise game for me. And the reason why is because I did think that the Raiders had a chance to win the game, but I just didn't think that they were going to look this good doing it. And again, the Raiders are probably the team that surprised me the most this year so far in the first 2 games. And again, I never thought the Raiders were going to be horrible. I didn't think they were going to be bad. But I just didn't expect them to win. Again, if you look at week 1, they were down big in the first half. They didn't really have control of the game, and then they come back and win in overtime. And then this game as well, their offense wasn't really playing that well in the first half. And then you see it in the second half, they kind of just exploded. And I think a big part of that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the Raiders, but I think a big part of that is TJ Watt going out with his injury, with his groin. I mean, if you look at it, when he was in the game, he's a guy that the Raiders had to account for. He had a strip sack on Carr, and then once he went out, the Raiders kind of just started airing the ball out. Carr had time to throw passes deep, so I think that it did change the game. But nonetheless, I think the Raiders still played phenomenal. And one thing that just worried me a little bit, and it was worrying me when I was watching it, is how the Raiders at the end of the second quarter were down in the red zone, right? And they kept on scoring, and it was just after every play there was a flag on them. And then I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the clip, and it's Gruden on the what is it? The audio. On the camera, it picked up him just cussing, just going off, So I feel like that's just something that they needed to clean up. But I still think it was a really good win. But for the Steelers, listen, I'm not trying to say, because if you look at the box score, I do think that the Steelers wide receivers played well. But when it came to the key third downs and the key plays that the receivers needed to make, they weren't there. And I have to give the Raiders secondary some credit for that, because the Raiders, everyone is saying that the defense is going to be bad, but I still think that the Steelers wide receivers should have put up some more plays when it mattered. But yeah, I just got to tip my hat to the Raiders, and they're the surprise team for me so far.
The Raiders are very surprising to start the year, and I think one of the things about their defense that makes them so underrated this year, I feel like, is their D-line. Carl Nassib and Max Crosby get out the quarterback so well. They made it tough on Big Ben. And they made him turn the ball over a couple times. I think he threw a pick where it was just literally right to the defender. And so far for the Steelers, unfortunate news that Deontay Johnson, from what it looked like to me seeing the injury, it looked like it was it was inside the knee. I'm pretty sure it was an ACL tear. But prayers up to him. It's going to give a lot of opportunities to Eric Ebron to show out in this offense now. Steelers can still progress from this just like the Bills did. I don't think they're going to be a bad team yet. I mean, this loss, they lost TJ Watt in the middle of the game to a groin injury. Well, I still don't know his injury status yet. But the Raiders are very surprising. I have to admit, I'm not sold yet, because last year this is how they started off too, right? They got wins off 2 good teams from the year prior. It's just we have to see how it moves forward.
And I agree with you. I'm not sold on the Raiders, but that doesn't mean that we think they're a bad team.
Exactly.
It's just I'm not sold on them competing with the top teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on that
I'm
yet.
not ready to put them there.
Okay, and one thing I forgot to add with the Steelers is that your offensive line, I get it, your offensive line is kind of new, but when you only have 39 rushing yards for the entire game, with Harris as your running back, who's a big physical guy, there's no way you should only have 39 rushing yards.
And the Raiders aren't known for stopping the run.
Yeah, so I think that was, I think for the Steelers, you're not in panic mode just yet, but you gotta kind of,
You gotta find some way to put Najee. You have to put the ball in his hands almost like every play. Moving on to the next game, Panthers versus Saints, which a lot of people saw this coming as a shocker after the Week 1 performance the Saints put on. But the Panthers are another big surprise team to me. Coming with Sam Darnold from the Jets. I thought he played very well against his defense that everybody calls top 10. And Malcolm Jenkins said himself that probably one of the best defense that he's ever been put on a team that he's played for. But I think with the defense, they made Jameis look like Jameis from Tampa Bay. I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah.
It looked like he never got that eye surgery done on him. But with the Saints, I see this as making making progress. Because yes, people are gonna overreact over a Week 1 win. I mean, everybody does that. But with the Saints, I still see promise in them. I mean, I know Alvin Kamara played bad, but let's not forget they are missing a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro Michael Thomas. So the offense is gonna struggle. I get that, but with the Panthers, I see them. Man, I could see this team being a playoff team.
I definitely could see this team being a playoff.
I thought you were gonna say no. I was gonna be like, wait, what? The defense has improved heavily. J.C. Horn finally got his first pick. I think he's gonna be up there. Him and Pat Surtain are gonna be up there in the future. Top cornerbacks.
Looking at this game, me and Maya have been big on Sam Darnold for the past 5 years, however long he's been in the NFL. And again, Little Man has never really been high on him. And I really don't know why you haven't been high on him. But the thing is like when you finally get to a receiver like DJ Moore, who I don't think he's a top 10 receiver, but I still think he can make plays for you. And he's had a good year so far. You have McCaffrey, who had 137 points and 1 touchdown this game. So I mean, he has the weapons. This defense, though, I think is the real bright spot for this team. Definitely. And if you look at it in 2 games, I understand they played the Jets, but you look at it in 2 games, they have 8 total sacks so far, and they held the Saints to only 48 yards on the ground. And Kamara, I thought this was a mistake. Kamara had 5 yards the whole game. So if you look at this defense deserves a lot of the credit for this team's success.
I mean, you have to win when Alvin Kamara is getting 5 yards.
5 yards, yeah, on the ground. And again, for the Saints, listen, the Week 1 performance I think was great. I think Jameis made some great plays, but I do not think he was great for the entire game. And if you look at it, besides his touchdowns, and I get it, that's the most important part. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but I'm saying other than that, it was pretty much just give the ball to Kamara, and that was it. But once they got down in the red zone, then they started airing the ball out. So yeah, and I think Winston still only had 111 yards this game. So I think he's only on like 280 yards this whole year so far. So he's not really airing the ball out. He's just making good plays in the red zone, which isn't bad by any means. But I just feel like people need to pump the brakes with how this offense is going to perform. Because again, like Loman said, Michael Thomas is out. I think they're going to struggle. I think Week 1 was a good game, but I don't think
Trotman too. They're starting tight ends also out.
So I don't think this is how the Saints are going to perform all year. I think they're going to. I don't think they can be blowing out teams scoring 35, but I also don't think they're going to be putting up points like this, 7 points in the game. So yeah, I just think it's just very interesting. I think this game was all about the Panthers and not really about the Saints.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the Panthers. On to the next one, Cardinals Vikings. You want to start this one off, or you want me to go? Me? All right. Kyler Murray playing out of his mind, as we all see him. MVP candidate early. As William Duarte told me off camera, he thinks that. I actually believe that too. I think he can.
Yeah.
And to me, I think somehow him and Cliff Kingsbury know that they have to keep this defense off the field as long as they can.
That's true.
Because that defense is just atrocious. They give up way too many big plays. They lucked out by that kicker for the Vikings missing a field goal. And with the Vikings, I feel like they're last year's Chargers. To me, they'll find any way they can to lose close games. Because I don't think they have that solidified kicker. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is still that guy for them. I mean, he hasn't really came up big yet in these close games. But for the Cardinals, I think the only thing I take serious about their defense is their D-line. Other than that, the secondary can't really cover nobody.
I agree with you. If you look at it, when I was looking at the game, I honestly thought it was kind of getting out of hand at first. You see the Vikings up 20-7 in the second quarter.
They did score pretty fast.
Yeah, but then I wasn't really panicking because I didn't understand that this Arizona offense could just explode at any time. But one thing that honestly made me happy was AJ Green catching a touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
Smiling, looking happy after him missing a lot of time due to injuries in the previous years, and then last year.
As y'all know that play.
Yeah, last year.
That we always talk about against the Ravens.
Yeah.
That said it all, really. That he wanted out of there.
So last year, not really having the year that everyone wanted him to have. But yeah, I just think it was a really good game for him, and I was happy for him. But looking at Kyler Murray, 400 yards through the air, 29 for 36, 3 touchdowns. There was 2 picks that I wasn't a fan of. I feel like one of them he just like kind of threw it up there.
Yeah, they were forced.
But nonetheless, I still think he had a really good game. And let me just say, I think Kyler Murray, I don't know how to say this without sounding weird, but like he has like the nicest like throws that I see.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say
weird.
He has the nicest throws. I don't want to say he has the nicest balls, but you get what I mean. He has the nicest throws.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said throws.
But and again, it is kind of due to his background. He is a baseball player, so I think it's gonna look like that. But yeah, and for the Vikings, again, I think this is your second game this season losing by 1 score, And Dalvin Cook having, I still feel like Dalvin Cook's one of the best running backs in the NFL.
For sure.
It's just that he's quiet because of the team he's on. So not a lot of people are giving him the praise he deserves.
Which is sad.
But yeah, and having 22 attempts for 131 yards. I do believe that he hurt his ankle late in the game. I did see him on the ground with the trainers. But the biggest thing about this game, just like with the Chargers and the Cowboys game, is that there was a lot of scoring going on. Well, not like that, but there was a lot of scoring going on the first 2 quarters, right?
Just back and forth with each other.
Yeah, it was back and forth. But then in the fourth quarter, both teams only allowed 3 points. So I think it was really good that the defenses stepped up when you needed them to. Unfortunately, the Vikings couldn't win because of their kicker. And did you see that clip of how the announcer for the Vikings was like going crazy? He's like, "We won," and then he didn't realize that they missed. Yeah, I mean, it just sucks. I feel for the Vikings, but again, I don't know if Kirk Cousins is that guy for you guys. But nonetheless, the Cardinals are a really good team, and I'm happy with the way they're playing.
I really feel like we have to see how this would have ended up if the Cardinals did lose and they only put up 3 points in the fourth quarter.
That's true.
How bad that would have looked on Kyler Murray.
That's true.
I mean, thankfully that kicker missed.
Yeah.
So now he's getting all the praise. But if he would have made that, whole different story. Anyways, on to the next game. Titans versus Seahawks. I thought this might have been the game of the day, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
24-9, down in the third quarter. Might have been the fourth quarter. I'm not sure. Was it the fourth quarter? No, it was the third quarter.
I know.
Titans were down.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry just said, "Let me do this." Put the team on his back. 230 total yards, 3 total touchdowns. Absolutely insane. Julio Jones finally got a 100-yard day with the Titans, his new team. Ryan Tannehill seems off to me. I don't know what it is. Like maybe his pocket presence isn't as where it was last year, or maybe the O-line is just actually terrible and they can't block a soul.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just something's off about this O-line. And to me, I think Derrick Henry won in the game, single-handedly. Won in the game because the Seahawks didn't do anything I saw. Russ didn't really turn the ball over, except he got sacked a couple of times. Yeah. But I see that coming every game because of his O-line. But it's just the Seahawks offense hit a stall. And like we were talking to our friend Jesse Salabar, who's a big Seahawks fan, he says that DK is non-existent late in the games.
That's true.
Which I noticed too.
And he got hurt as well.
He got hurt
in that
too.
game. Yeah, I think he hurt his thigh or something. I don't know, but I saw him limping off the field. You done with your take?
No, but to me, in late,
no, I'm saying
in those situations, I feel like that's where you have to go to your biggest receiver, the big playmaker.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett does that, but once he hits a big play, what do you think the defense is going to do? Lock in on him. So as your opposing wide receiver, you have to make the big plays to get your team to winning situations.
Yeah.
Which I don't think DK did. So now we're sitting here, both teams are 1-1.
Yeah, and not only looking at DK and your receivers, but when you look at it, your offensive line, the Seahawks offensive line, that's another reason why I don't think that this team can compete with the biggest teams in the NFL, is because you failed to address your offensive line for yet another year. And late in the game, Russ was getting sacked. He was under pressures.
I thought that should have been a safety.
For most, yeah. If you look at the game, the play that should have ended the game, that would have been on the O-line as well. You look in the fourth quarter when their offense stalled, that was on the O-line as well. So yeah, I just feel like this team, I mean, I really don't know if you're the Seahawks, like what you expect when you see your O-line like this. But for the Titans, it was a really good win. If you look at it, I mean, as you already mentioned, but Julio did have a really good game, 128 yards. It should have been a touchdown that should have counted, but I really don't understand the way the refs saw it, how it wasn't a catch. But I mean, I still think it was a catch. But yeah,
the Julio Jones one, huh?
Yeah, the one where his toe.
I really don't get that. Like, so what's the, like we were talking about, what's the reason for a toe tap?
Yeah.
Like if someone toe taps, that's a touchdown. But that he touched his toe, like his toe literally tapped on the floor.
Like his
but now
toe,
they say his whole foot has to land on the ground. Like
I don't know, it was confusing to me. But yeah, I just think it was a good win for the Titans, especially how you looked in week 1. I think the Seahawks, they always have games like this. So I'm not going to panic and say that they're going to be a horrible team. They always have games like this where once a year, you're like, how did they lose? You know, like, I just don't understand how you lose this game. But yeah.
It's always in that game that you say, like, well, how did they lose it? It seems to always happen in Seattle.
Yeah, it's always a game in Seattle. And again, your offense only mustered up 6 points in the second half, including overtime. So 6 points with that high-powered offense is a result of your offensive line not being addressed in the offseason. So yeah, I'm done with that.
Moving on to Sunday night, Ravens versus Chiefs.
My opinion, that was the game of the week.
Yeah, your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I think this really showed how bad Lamar wanted to beat Pat Mahomes. I mean, after those 2 picks, after he gets 2 turnovers in any game, I feel like that's when he just loses all confidence in himself. But I feel like he wanted this game so bad that he just did whatever he could, all the gutsy plays that he pulled off.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, if you see his stiff arms, if you see that, you don't really see that from Lamar, his stiff arms, and then late. No, I'm being serious. And then late.
That fourth down play.
Yeah, and then also late in the third when there was a play where he could have just ran out of bounds, but decided to stay in bounds and take that the contact from Sorensen, I think. I forget who it was, but I mean, yeah.
He's never scared to lower his shoulder.
No, but I'm saying like there's times where he could have just ran out of bounds, but he decided to take that contact.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked a lot about this game is that they're getting Hollywood Brown involved a lot this year in the first 2 games. He had 6 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. And I really love the fact that they're getting him involved even more in this offense because as we all know, he was very frustrated last year that he wasn't getting looked his way at all. And another thing we talked about with the phone is with the Chiefs, this offense. We saw the last couple times they played the Ravens, how the Ravens like to bite on a lot of things. A lot of the pump fakes, a lot of the double routes, or the double moves, but this year they were without Marcus Peters, who's a very aggressive corner and likes to jump on stuff like that. And we didn't see that this game. Tyreek Hill only had, 3 catches, 14 yards?
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, Aver played a very phenomenal game on him. Just Kelsey was really the deciding factor. He went off. I mean, when doesn't he? Yeah. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had just a rough night running the football, especially that fumble that cost him late in the game. Mm-hmm. And I see this as a huge win for the Ravens going forward. Yeah. Huge. Especially against the Chiefs.
Yeah, for Lamar, and again, I'm not one to really play into the headlines of saying like, oh, Lamar, he feel like he needed to beat the Chiefs, but I think this time it applies. Yes. I think if you're in your career, you're playing against one quarterback, you're playing against one team that you never really seem to beat, it never seems to go your way. I feel like that's something that you have to get off your checklist, and that's something that he did. And again, I think the play of the night, as everyone else is talking about, is how Lamar on 4th and 1, he told his coach, hell yeah, that he wants to go for it. And again, he proved that he is that guy, and he went for it. And again, like I say, Lamar is a winner. No matter how you feel about his passing, no matter how you feel about all the memes and stuff like that, or his playoff performances, he's a winner. He knows how to just win games. He's a natural born leader. You know what I mean? So I'm happy for him. And again, like you were saying, those two early picks, that's kind of the blueprint to beat Lamar. You went a force center pass, right? Mm-hmm. But he was still in that game. They still came back. But if you look at it for the Chiefs, I think it was obvious that the Ravens wanted to take away Hill, and that was what the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl. I think the only difference with this Chiefs offense is that, Hill wasn't there, but their offensive line was kind of holding up, so that allowed Mahomes to have time.
That's why you think it was that close, huh?
Yeah, because looking in the Super Bowl, Mahomes, it was the same plan. Mahomes had Kelsey and other receivers, but had no time. But my biggest thing with the Chiefs in this game, aside from I think Mahomes' pick, I think that was pretty bad. And then again, I feel like when you have that kind of player, you're gonna have those kind of plays with him where he's going to the ground, just lobs it up in the air. But I feel like with him, he's getting older. I think he has to just learn the difference between just going down, just giving up, and resulting in interception. But I think the biggest thing is laying the game with your fumble at the end. It was 2nd and 3. There was still a minute left. And again, what we saw last year in the playoffs with Andy Reid, 4th and 2? And Andy Reid decides to call a pass play, and it wins them the game. And I think that Andy Reid was kind of passive, and I think he should have called a pass play. But again, I'm not saying down the field. I'm saying an extension of the run game. Maybe a screen, a quick pass to Hill, to Travis Kelsey.
Flat.
Yeah, just something small, quick. Just get out of Mahomes' hands and then just run for the first down. So I think that's what Andy Reid should have done. But again, hindsight is 20/20. You could always look back and say, oh well, he should have done this and that. But yeah, I just feel like that it was kind of, I wasn't expecting Andy Reid to just run the clock out like that. And again, if it fails, you kick the field goal early and you force Lamar to pass the ball. So I mean, I still feel like that I think that's where they lost the game, obviously. But yeah, nonetheless, I think Lamar, it was his game, probably one of the best wins of his career, and I'm just happy for him.
Moving on to the last game of the week, the Monday Night Football game, which not a lot of people thought was going to be a very good game. But we saw it as a big game to see how the Packers are going to bounce back from that atrocious Week 1 loss to the New Orleans Saints. And Aaron Rodgers threw for 260-plus yards, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 4 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
But the defense of the Packers is a huge problem, huge question mark on that end. Desmond King is playing...
Kevin King.
Kevin King.
Yeah.
is playing probably the worst football as a cornerback I think I've ever seen. The amount of moves and the amount of times that receivers are open on his end is absolutely just. I mean, you just can't take your eye away. You can't keep giving him that many chances. And I think Eric Stokes, who's a rookie, I think he's a very good cornerback. I think he has potential to take that spot away from him. Because, I mean, you have to look at other options. I mean, you just have to. You have to see it that way. The first drive, he gave up, I think, 2 big plays.
Yeah.
He gave up the one to give him in the red zone, and he gave up the touchdown. So if I'm the Packers, I'm looking at, I get you've drafted 9 defensive players in the last 11 years, but I still don't understand how their defense is that bad. I mean, it's a big question moving forward with Aaron Rodgers and his situation in Green Bay. And I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the year is going to play out. I really don't.
Yeah, that's honestly what scares me about the Packers is that your defense, and not only your defense, but just your team in general, is never known as like the hard team. You know what I mean? They're always kind of soft. They're known as like the finesse team.
So they play the Cowboys.
But yeah, but I'm saying like that was their downfall against the Buccaneers, is that they just got outmanned.
Punched in the mouth constantly.
So yeah, that is one thing that's bothering me. But I think there is something that's good about this, is that you were going into the half down 17-14. Jared Goff, he did play a really good game in the first half, and then you see it having 2 fumbles when the rain started to pour down. Yeah, and I just feel like that's going to be the result of the Lions season, is just inconsistency, not only from Goff, but just your whole team as a whole. But I think the biggest quarter was the third quarter, by far. Because if you look at it, Packers start off with the touchdown, and it was a long drive. Then the Lions are driving. They have a good drive. You get down to, I think, the Packers 30 or 31, and it's 4th and 1. You decide to go for it, which, I mean, by all means, I mean, I think, if you have the defense for it, and if you have the offense, if you're sure,
the defense for that.
Yeah, and if you're sure that your offense could play at a high level the entire game, and I think they should have taken the points, but instead they went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it. So then the Packers get the ball again, control the ball for most of the third quarter, resulted in another Aaron Jones touchdown. Then to end the third quarter, Jared Goff fumbles the ball, and the Packers get the ball back. So I think that was the biggest thing. The Packers came out of the half prepared, and Rodgers came out fired up, and the Lions just kind of I don't want to say show their true form, but they showed that why they're gonna struggle and why they've been struggling for so long. So yeah, but nonetheless, I think it was a good win for the Packers to get all the outside noise out of their heads and stuff like that. But again, it's just worrying me. I'm not worried about the Packers in the regular season. I'm not worried about them even in the beginning of the playoffs. Just when it gets down to those other teams like the Rams, who are way more physical, the Buccaneers, who have been known to be way more physical. So yeah, it's just worrying me about that. And I was listening to the pregame thing while I was at work, and they were saying how Matt LaFleur was making an emphasis in the locker room to kind of talk to the Packers about what does it take to get over the NFC Championship home. And they feel like that kind of hurt them in week 1 because you're focused months down the line instead of really focusing on your week 1 opponent. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just saying that. I mean, I do think it's good that they're talking about what it takes to get over that hump. But yeah, I just feel like that this team I don't think they have what it takes.
It has to be regular season first.
Yeah, but I don't think they have what it takes to get over that hump, just being honest. And I know Little Man said one more game, but I have another one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
we have to talk about it. Well,
I forgot. Why didn't you say anything?
Listen, the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I think the experience between these two teams, I think it showed. I think it showed that the 49ers are the experienced team, made a Super Bowl run, and the Eagles are a team that obviously has a first-year head coach in the second game, quarterback starting for his first full year. If you look at it, I think the Eagles defense played amazing the entire first half, and the Niners offense really didn't get anything going.
Shut them out, didn't they?
Yeah, until the last drive, pretty much. But for the whole time, it was 2-3 and outs to start the game. I think it was really good. But if you look at the Eagles, you had too many missed opportunities, and you beat yourselves per se. I'm not gonna say that we did, but I'm saying if you look at it, if you're watching the film, you just have to just be like, man, what if we capitalize on these plays? And I'm gonna list off the number of plays. So Rager had a touchdown. I think it was like a 40-yard touchdown. It was called back because his heels were out of bounds, and he ran back in bounds, caught the touchdown. Now again, I don't think there's anything he could do in that situation. I just feel like it was just a matter of inches where his heel was out of bounds and he ran back in. So I understand that, but that drive resulted in a blocked field goal. So that's 3 points off the board. That was initially 7 points off the board. Then it's 3. And then you have Jalen Hurts, who had a 91-yard pass from your own 2 to Quez Watkins. It was a huge play, got the crowd fired up. And then you're on the goal line and you go 4 and out. And on the 4th down play, you run Philly special. And listen, Philly special isn't so special anymore. A lot of teams run that all the time now. It's not going to catch them on off guard. I think you're going to have to wait 10 years for that to
That's a play
catch someone.
that's a play that's just out of pocket in a moment you really need.
Yeah,
That's literally just like a trick play.
It's because it's like, yeah, when it first happened in the Super Bowl, it's like no one expected it. But now everyone knows that play. It's iconic, so I feel like it's just not going to work. But yeah, Sirianni, he even said it in the post game that game was on him, and I do agree. And these are flaws that I saw in week 1 with the Eagles. I was happy that we had a big win against the Falcons, but your flaws are going to show more when you play a team that's prepared like the 49ers. And we left a lot of points on the board in week 1. I think we had a lot of penalties in week 1, and this happened again in week 2. So I just feel like this team is young, and I think that's why I said this team is going to be fun to watch per se. They're going to have some big plays. They're going to have some nice plays against the teams that are less prepared. But I don't think this team's going to be very good because the teams who are more prepared than them know how to capitalize off plays. And if you look at the 49ers, listen, I know there's a lot of talk between Trey Lance and Jimmy G. And I do think that Jimmy G didn't look that well in the first half. He missed a bunch of throws, on 3rd down, which were like wide open receivers. I'm not even saying like, oh, it was Billy. Like, no, he had receivers wide open and he missed them. But again, when the game kind of settled down, he took control of the offense and he converted on some big 3rd downs. So I do think that Jimmy G right now still gives the Niners the best chances to win because if you look at their division, just really good all around. And I think Jimmy G he's less of a risk, you know? But I think having Trey Lance, I think he can make the bigger plays, but I don't think you take that risk in having him in and making mistakes that could cost you.
The game ender.
Yeah. So, but yeah, props to the Niners. I think they look really prepared, but the Eagles, just a lot of their flaws showed, and that's why I didn't pick them this week because I think you have to learn. Your offense is learning along with your head coach. The whole team is learning all around. Not to mention Brandon Graham tore his Achilles out for the season, which sucks because he's. Everyone in the locker room, everyone in the NFL, it just talks highly of him. And then you have Brandon Brooks, who hurt his chest, and he's on injured reserve.
I don't know. So, I think I was telling you yesterday on the phone is that Brandon Graham might call it.
I don't think so, but I think it's getting to that point where like you have to question it. You get me? Like I think he still has the heart to be in the game, but
for sure he still has the juice. But it's like, at that age, that kind of injury is just. It just takes a toll on someone.
What was your take on the?
What I saw in the Eagles game was exactly what you said, being the most experienced. But I thought that Quez Watkins should be getting looked at a lot more. Mm-hmm. His targets, his playmaking, his speed should be used a lot more in end arounds or whatever like plays the Eagles have written up for him. Mm-hmm. And I really want to see Miles Sanders more. I told you that from week 1. Yeah. The fact that he's not getting the ball a lot is just really upsetting for me to see because I know his playmaking ability. We all saw it last year. Yeah. I think he had the most 50-plus runs last year. Yeah. If I can remember.
It was like 3 last year.
It was like 3. But yeah, I think his talent is just not being used as good as it was with Doug Peterson. Even then, he had a problem with getting Miles Sanders involved in the offense. Mm-hmm. But I really want to see that moving forward. And with all that being said, I mean, next week, Monday Night Football.
Let's hope he gets touches then.
Well, he probably is because, I mean, last year in week 17, he ripped us apart. So I would be expecting a lot of that.
Yeah, but
what's your game plan going in that game? What do you want to see
for the Eagles and the Cowboys? I think that's a game where I'm not trying to say anything, but I think that's a game where you test out what you have in your offense and your receivers, and it's where you take advantage and take shots. That's just what I'm saying. I think that's a game, and I think that's a game where Nick Sirianni kind of has to have fun and get Jalen outside the pocket, have him just have a lot of design runs for him. I think that's a game where you have to just kind of practice for later on in the year when it comes to your offensive play call.
For mine, I really want to see us go after Hurts because I really don't see. Because the first half of last year's game in Week 17 when he played against us, him and Miles Sanders was using their feet, getting the Eagles down the field. But then as soon as they brought pressure, that's when Hurts kind of fell apart in that game. Mm-hmm. So that's really what I want to see them focus on going into Monday night.
So you're hating on Hurts, okay?
I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying the pressure has to be on him. Because I don't want to see him outside the pocket making plays.
As you can tell, we're obviously Cowboys and Eagles fans because the way we're debating about this. We shouldn't even be talking about it yet. But yeah, I agree with you, Lorman. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. But thank you guys for watching. That's going to do it for this video. We are going to be having a prediction video. Knock on wood. We're going to be having a prediction video later on this week. Just thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe.
If you need picks, let me know.
What?
Said if they need picks, let me know.
For what?
13-3 this week.
Yeah, so if you guys just thank you guys and subscribe, make sure you like, and just we're gonna try to be more active on Instagram as well. Sorry about that, guys, but yeah, thank you guys. And anything you want to say?
Till Monday. Next Monday.
Yep.